Time for us to get into our interactive segment this afternoon. We'll be telling you how you can borrow money, how can we get an income, and as well as how can we have a capital to start a business. To discuss this on set is the director of Ndai Limited, Bedi Mwange, to discuss with that access to credit, especially for small-scale business persons as well as entrepreneurs in the industry. I do understand, Mwange, welcome on set. To start us off, I do understand we're dealing mainly with the transport industry. What does it take for us to get money?
All right, thank you so much for this opportunity you have accorded me to be here today. What it takes to get money in mobility space. Maybe I'll mention what the specific area where we specialize in mobility, whereby we help mobility entrepreneurs, I mean taxi drivers, to get an asset generating income asset, so that they can earn a livelihood. Basically what we do, we buy cars for them, we don't ask them for deposits or in processing fees. Yeah, that's one way to get capital to earn a livelihood.
You know, many people who really need to start off their lives on a good platform are graduates from campuses, and you say we don't have any foundation, especially for this group of people. Where do they start from?
All right, I think to access credit, it starts with your character, your discipline, and also the fact that you are able to repay. And I think that is a good start for people to practice to be credit worthy. In our sector, where we help mobility entrepreneurs get cars, we don't ask them for deposits. So I mean the segment I've just mentioned, we easily help them to get cars to drive and earn a life.
But with all these, there are challenges of repaying this amount of money, especially for someone who is not employed. How do you go about it?
I think what we are doing is we are creating employment basically for this particular segment of the underserved, the youth, the women, the taxi drivers, who most of the banks or conventional lending institutions don't look at them or don't advance credit to them. So yeah.
And what are these issues that we will be looking at keenly, not only for this group of students who are from school, but also those ones who are already employed and they want to venture into large scale, as much as you focus in small scale businesses?
I think for that particular segment you mentioned is a question of credit worthiness. As I mentioned when I was starting, is discipline. Are you credit-worthy person? Are you somebody who can be lent money and you pay? Are you borrowing the money on the good intention of maybe putting into the business, or you just want money to sort issues outside your business? So I mean, for them to be able to access larger credit, they need to demonstrate capability to absorb larger credit.
Maybe for just someone who is interested, what type of mobility are we looking at? Are we also extending these services to Boda interested persons? Or do we look at taxi operators? Do we look at matatu operators?
All right, for our space we are in at Ndai Africa, we majorly focus on taxi drivers. The people who have been driving cars for other people, and now they have made a decision now. They want to own their own cars, so we tell them come over, apply on our website. Then invite them over for a vetting process, and once they qualify, we give them the car they chose when they were applying, and they start driving. But also we are looking to venture into boda, but primarily focusing on electric motorbikes.
There is a concern about the digital lenders. I believe you also, to some extent, fall in that category. But then we have people who fail to pay off their loans. How do we address this issue, not only for Ndai, but also for other business persons?
I think it all starts with the vetting. How do you vet your client? What is your KYC? How do you know your client? Then, I mean, understanding the person you are going to advance a loan to or credit to is very important. And I think most of these lending, the ones you have digital lending apps, for example, They are purely digital. It's not person you have ever met. You just go download the app, and because they transact maybe on mobile money, they qualify for this particular threshold, and eventually that person could be borrowing the money for the wrong reasons. So knowing your client deeper and maybe walking the journey with them towards realizing the importance of this credit they are borrowing and how is it going to help them. Walking that journey and understanding them is very key.
We always look at how to improve our business. There are these policies that we like the private sector to invest in. There are policies that also we would like the government to come in and put in efforts for us to have proper business without major challenges. From where you sit, what are key issues that you think we need to address?
I think the government already started something, I think sometime last year but one. And I think they've been able to pull or consolidate a lot of data for people. They're now able to understand the repayment or the character of Kenyans. When it comes to credit, are they able to pay? Do they borrow money for the same reasons? I mean, organizations, they need to understand the demographic or the segment they intend to help access credit. And I think now government has been able to understand.
Everyone wants to get employed. And even as we look at all these efforts that we want to put in place to streamline our businesses, the industries that have employed people in the country, is entrepreneurship the silver bullet of addressing unemployment in the country?
I think it is, because when you look at the Kenyan population, 35% comprises of the youth, and which translates to around 67% unemployment rate. I don't think the government has enough jobs, or organizations have enough jobs to absorb this huge population. So I think entrepreneurship is something which is going to help create jobs for many people. So I encourage many entrepreneurs to create jobs, to start their own startups or businesses, and they'll be able to employ 1 or 2, 10, 20, and at the end of the day, there'll be a bigger segment of the Kenyan population employed.
Maybe if I take you back on how we will be able to get these credit facilities. Do we need a collateral? And for those ones without collateral, how do you think we can help them in creating employment?
I don't think for you to start a business, you really need credit to start. I think you just need a brilliant idea, and you need to start small, the way you are able to run without borrowing money or going for credit. And after you understand the business you're running, it will be easy for you to access credit without much struggle. So I think the concept or the mentality that you need credit upfront to start a business, it is wrong. So I would encourage people to start small. Start with what you have, run it small in a small scale, then grow from there. You'll be able to access all credit you want in the world.
We have so many people who have invested on the digital space. There are those people who are still doing the business the way they used to do. Do you think it's about time we all get to the digital world in terms of lending money?
I think we need to move with times, and that's where we are now, and that's not going to go back. Technology is here with us, and it's going to be even more advanced as times go. So digital approach is the way, because that's where you're going to find people. It is going to be difficult to find people, walk-ins to your business premise for credit or that. You'll find them digitally. They will access your services online. Then you'll pick it from there. So digital, yeah, it's the way.
Where would you put Kenya with the progress on employment on the digital space?
I think it's going on the right direction, because when you look at the government effort towards, what government is doing, especially on the artists, creators, and enabling an environment for startups to be able to thrive. I think we are heading in the right direction as a country to create more jobs.
When you talk about job creation, why should I look at Ndai and not any other company?
At Ndai is we are helping, or we are playing in the financial inclusion space, and we are creating hundreds of jobs at the moment, and we have been able to vet and qualify 2,000 plus online taxi drivers, comprising of 800 youth, 400 women. I'm speaking the numbers we've been able to do now, who are on our database and waiting for assets or waiting for cars from us. So, and us is a segment we understand very well, the mobility space, and that specific segment of taxi drivers who are always overlooked by lending institutions. The fact that we understand them, we know how to walk the journey with them to self-employment, to earning a livelihood, and helping them to, contribute to the economy. And the fact that also we don't ask for deposits and processing fees. All you need to get an asset from Ndai, you just need to have an experience of 1 year driving on online platforms, maybe Bolt, Uber, and all the others.
Have you had the concern of women not being given the priority, especially when it comes to lending on these mobility services? And how have you been able to address it?
Yes, actually we have quite a number or we have been able to give cars currently. And we have, as I mentioned, we have 400 who are waiting for cars from us. It's women, they shy away from also applying to get these vehicles, honestly. And I would encourage them to maybe visit Ndai and apply, and we are going to welcome them to come over for a vetting process. So, and also the fact that women also, they are busy, just to say, juggling between family and all that. It's a space probably many shy away because of the responsibility they carry on. But there is potential. We are looking at, in the next 24 months, we are looking to have 50% of our car owners being women. It's a segment we are very much interested in, and helping as many women and youth as possible. How
are we going to attain this 50% of women, of your customers being women?
Yes, it's a good question. We are looking for partners, strategic partners, maybe those who are in mobility space or who are in the venture capitalists, probably. If the supporters will be able to support as many women as possible. So it's a concerted effort between us and the partners out there, and maybe government, if it comes on board and helps us, or other organizations who are keen into helping women transition or to become self-employed. Ndai is the right partner for them to work with. We are going to help as many as possible to own cars and get a job.
You've been able to talk about Ndai, but then you also deal with other stakeholders in the same platform where you are. When do you think it will be the right time for us to cross the borders and also do business in Africa in line with what we do?
All right. Unemployment, if I go back with the unemployment line, unemployment in Africa, the youth themselves who are between 15 years and 24 years are 200 million plus, right? Showing there's a younger generation of people who are unemployed. And as at Ndai, we are actually looking to expand in the regional markets. We are keenly looking at Rwanda at the moment to expand there, because there's a need. And this also, looking at the car ownership in Africa, is quite low. People don't own cars in Africa. Maybe out of 1,000, only 44 people own cars, yeah? And us, we are looking to help as many people to own vehicles. And also, in the process of owning vehicles, they get a job and they earn a livelihood. So we are not limited to within Kenya. We are not limited actually to any country in Africa. We are also looking to expand globally. Yeah, sky is the limit.
Well, when we kicked off this interview, you talked about the uptake of electric cars, that you want to bring in the electric cars. But have you been able to know where we stand as a country so that we don't go on a loss when we get into this business?
Good question. I think I'm just from a meeting with some of the e-mobility players now, and the question we are discussing is about the infrastructure. Are we ready to absorb EV cars as a country? We have the right infrastructure in place. And there are many players actually who are playing to making sure the EV transportation comes to a reality. Those who are playing the sector of battery swapping, those who are playing the sector of sampling, maybe the EV car vehicles or the motorbikes, those who are playing the sector of now, like us and I, we come in and become the financier of this particular segment of mobility space. So there is potential. We are working towards success. It's a concerted effort.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And we've come to the close of the interview, but we would like to engage you more in the future on the same. Thank you for your time. Welcome once again.